They wrote the books about behavior, but never read our pain. Diagnosed the symptoms, never lost in the chains. Turn healers into criminals.
They told us herbal medicine was outdated. They told us Western medicine was the only way. But what if we told you that the healthcare system was designed to erase traditional healing? Not because it wasn't effective, but because it wasn't profitable. This episode, we expose the truth behind medical apartheid and why reclaiming our healing is more important than ever. Welcome to the Herbal Rebellion, Therapy, Wellness, and the Law, where we explore the intersection of traditional healing, therapy, and policy. I'm Maria Copeland, and I'm here with my co-host, Noelle Adami.
Today's discussion is one that many people don't realize is still affecting us. We're talking about medical apartheid and our ongoing fight to reclaim our healing.
We've all heard about the gaps in healthcare access, but what most don't realize is that these gaps are intentional. They're rooted in systemic racism and have been maintained through policies that favor pharmaceutical medicine over traditional healing. In this episode, we'll explore how racism in medicine has shaped today's healthcare system, the erasure of herbalism in the United States and why it was pushed aside, the legal barriers herbalists and practitioners still face, and how therapists can influence policy and support holistic healing.
And to help us break this down, we have some incredible guests with us today. Tiffany Campbell, an attorney who can talk to us about medical rights and legal policies surrounding holistic medicine, and Dr. Dee Bates, an expert on modern healthcare disparities and the use of cannabis to facilitate healing.
Before we begin, we want to make something very clear. This podcast is for educational and information purposes only. We are not medical doctors or lawyers, and this is not medical or legal advice. If you have health concerns, please consult with a licensed healthcare professional. And if you have legal questions about practicing herbal medicine, be sure to speak to a legal expert in your area.
That being said, we're here to provide the history, context, and insights that can help you make informed decisions about your health and healing practices. So let's get into it.
Let's set the foundation by defining some key terms.
Herbalism is the practice of using plants and plant extracts for medicinal purposes and has been the foundation of medicine for thousands of years.
It draws from generations of traditional knowledge while also integrating modern research to promote health and well-being.
In the 20th and 21st centuries, the world has seen a resurgence of interest in herbalism, driven by factors such as dissatisfaction with conventional medicine. Many people seek natural alternatives due to the concerns about side effects, over-medication, and pharmaceutical industry dominance. Scientific validation, modern research is increasingly supporting the efficacy of herbs, leading to more integration into clinical practice. The World Health Organization supports the use of traditional and complementary medicine as part of the global health strategies. According to Eisenberg et al. In 1993, 34% of Americans used at least one form of alternative medicine in 1990, and that number has continued to rise.
Herbal medicine isn't just about treating symptoms. It's about supporting the body's natural ability to heal. For thousands of years, people across the world have relied on plants, roots, flowers, and fungi to restore balance, strengthen immunity, and prevent disease. But here's the thing. This isn't just some outdated or alternative method. It's the original medicine, long before the pharmaceutical industry even existed.
Holistic medicine considers the mind, body, spirit, and emotions as interconnected to address the root causes and promote long-term wellness. Holistic medicine often combines conventional treatments with alternative therapies like acupuncture, massage therapy, breathwork and meditation, energy healing, and of course, herbal medicine. This approach is about teaching people how to listen to their bodies and how to support their health naturally, instead of just relying on prescriptions to mask symptoms.
Now let's talk about how herbalism evolved and how it was systematically erased. Herbal medicine has been the foundation of healing for every culture in the world. Some of the most well-known and documented systems include Ayurveda, a system that dates back over 5,000 years based on balancing the body's energy through herbs, diet, and yoga. Traditional Chinese medicine, a practice that includes herbal formulas, acupuncture, and qi balancing to promote harmony. And indigenous medicine, which originated from Africa, the Americas, and beyond. A healing system deeply connected to land, spirit, and ancestral knowledge that focus on preventative care, plant-based remedies, and ritual healing. In the United States, We saw a massive shift away from traditional medicine, not because of racism, capitalism, and control.
In the early 20th century, the pharmaceutical industry began to rise, and herbal medicine was intentionally pushed aside. One of the biggest blows came in 1910 with the Flexner Report, which shut down many Black and Indigenous medical schools and labeled natural medicine as unscientific. Suddenly, traditional healers were pushed out of the medical system. Western pharmaceutical medicine became the only approved form of treatment, not because it was better, but because it was more profitable. But here's the good news. We're seeing a global shift back toward herbalism and holistic healing. Today, millions of people are rejecting the overuse of pharmaceuticals and turning back to plant-based healing. This isn't just a trend. It is a return to something deeper, something ancestral, something that has always worked. And today we can reclaim our right to heal.
Now that we've covered the history of herbal medicine, let's talk about why people are turning back to it. Science is finally catching up to what traditional healers have always known, and the research is clear. Herbs can help manage stress, support immunity, and even prevent chronic disease.
Let's start with stress, something we all deal with. Instead of numbing symptoms like pharmaceuticals do, herbs help regulate the nervous system. Ashwagandha lowers cortisol, reducing stress and adrenal fatigue. Lion's mane may improve focus and reduce stress-related fatigue. Tulsi, eleuthero, and reishi support resilience, helping the body adapt to stress. Skullcap, kava, and milky oats calm anxiety and emotional overwhelm. These aren't quick fixes. They're long-term tools for nervous system balance.
When we talk about true immunity, it's about building resilience, not just reacting when we're sick. Red ginseng boosts immune function and energy levels. Reishi mushrooms strengthen respiratory health and fight inflammation. Turmeric improves heart health and reduces inflammation. Garlic lowers blood pressures naturally. Pomegranates support gut, skin, and metabolic health. Instead of suppressing symptoms, these plants work with the body to restore balance.
And that's what sets herbalism apart. It's about getting to the root of the issue. Pharmaceuticals disrupt, herbs restore. Over-medication pollutes, herbalism protects. Western medicine profits off sickness, herbalism empowers health. When we use herbs intentionally and respectfully, we're not just healing our bodies, we're healing our communities and the planet.
Millions of people are reclaiming herbal medicine, not because it's trendy, but really because it works. Reclaiming plant medicine is about health justice, accessibility, and decolonizing wellness. Let's get into that next.
To understand where we are today, we first need to talk about medical apartheid, a system that has shaped the racist disparities in healthcare for centuries. The reality is the modern U.S. healthcare system was never built for Black and Indigenous people. Here's why. The Flexner Report of 1910 shut down most Black medical schools, erasing generations of Black physicians. Western medicine criminalized herbal healing and Indigenous practices, forcing communities to rely on pharmaceuticals.
And these historical injustices aren't just stories from the past. Even today, studies show that many rural Black and Indigenous communities have no hospitals or clinics nearby, creating modern-day medicine deserts because they took away their herbal medicines. Black women are 2.6 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes due to implicit biases and medical neglect. These statistics aren't just numbers, they're real and they're personal. When I gave birth, I was denied pain medicine, and my concerns were dismissed despite reporting severe pain and massive clotting. When I spoke with the doctor, she told me I shouldn't be in that much pain, and I was likely over-reporting. And she reported that she thought that if she gave me pain medications, I would become an addict. Days later, I could barely function, and when I finally was able to go into the office and be checked during a postpartum follow-up, my blood pressure was 180 over 150, and I was rushed to the ER. And to make things worse, my doctor, a white woman, told me that because I was Black, I didn't know how to care for myself. Who failed to provide care? The doctor who ignored my pain, or the doctor who thought my skin color somehow prevented me from knowing how to listen to my body? This is what implicit bias in medicine looks like. It's not just history, it's happening right now. Black patients are less likely to receive pain medications than white patients because of the false belief that we have a higher pain tolerance.
A 2002 study conducted by Eisenberg et al. Found Over 50% of Americans had used some form of complementary and alternative medicine, including herbal therapies, by the early 2000s. Many patients with arthritis, digestive disorders, and cardiovascular issues turn to herbal medicine for symptom management. Complementary and alternative medicine therapies are particularly popular among individuals seeking natural, holistic approaches or are experiencing side effects from conventional drugs. In multiple meta-analyses, ginger has been found to have an anti-inflammatory and nausea-reducing effect, especially for motion sickness and pregnancy-related nausea. Turmeric has a strong anti-inflammatory property, which is comparable to some antacids with very few side effects. Less pharmaceuticals mean less harm to the earth and helping keep our oceans clean. What we are seeing as far as the evolution of herbalism is that herbalism has survived centuries of suppression, evolving from traditional healing systems into a modern wellness movement. While Western medicine once marginalized herbalism, we are now witnessing a renewed appreciation for plant-based healing, but legal and regulatory barriers still exist. The medical industry wanted complete control over healthcare, and that meant eliminating any competition. When it comes to herbal medicine, how is it legally classified in the US?
Great question, Noelle. Under the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act of 1994, herbal products are classified as dietary supplements rather than regulated medicine. This means they don't go through the same FDA approval process as prescription drugs. While this allows for wider access, it also limits oversight on safety, quality, and efficacy.
So what about the people practicing herbal medicine? Do herbalists have any legal recognition?
Unlike conventional doctors, herbalists don't have a standardized federal licensing system in the US. This means there's no national credentialing and regulation varies state by state.
And what about herbalists themselves? Are there legal risks for them?
Absolutely. The FDA has cracked down on herbal practitioners, leading to arrests and legal battles. In some cases, herbalists have been accused of practicing medicine without a license, which can carry serious legal consequences. This legal uncertainty discourages many from openly practicing or expanding their services.
Wow. It sounds like there's a long way to go in terms of protecting both consumers and practitioners in the herbal medicine space.
Exactly. Right now, the lack of clear regulations leaves both patients and herbalists vulnerable. There's a need for more standardized policies that ensure product safety while also recognizing herbalists as legitimate healthcare providers.
So what can we do? How can therapists and healthcare professionals advocate for change?
A few of the biggest ways therapists can push for policy change is by joining professional bodies that advocate for herbal regulations and holistic medicine, educating patients about their right to alternative healthcare options, and fighting for state-level recognition of herbalists to ensure legal protections.
This is crucial work because at the end of the day, true healthcare equity means giving patients the freedom to choose their own healing paths, whether that's pharmaceuticals, therapy, or herbal medicine. What we are seeing as far as the evolution of herbalism is that herbalism has survived centuries of suppression, evolving from traditional healing systems into a modern wellness movement. While Western medicine once marginalized herbalism, we are now witnessing a renewed appreciation for plant-based healing, but legal and regulatory barriers still exist.
What was the result? Today, herbalists aren't considered real medical professionals, even though herbal medicine predates pharmaceuticals. The FDA has little oversight over herbal productions, leaving consumers unprotected. Legal restrictions prevent herbalists and therapists from integrating herbal medicine into their work. I read an article and it was really interesting. And it stated, race-based trauma is real. It deeply affects the mental and physical health of BIPOC communities. The article, Psychedelics as Treatment for Race-Based Trauma, highlights that while psychedelics show promise in treating PTSD and trauma, we still don't fully understand how race and generational trauma shape mental health. Traditional screening methods weren't designed for us. They don't account for race-related trauma, leaving many BIPOC individuals excluded from treatment that could help. If we truly want to explore the therapeutic potentials of psychedelics, we need to center BIPOC experiences in the research and redefine how we approach healing.
Some patients appear to be forced to either self-medicate or rely on pharmaceuticals, even when herbs could be a safer alternative. What is your take on this?
I would say as healthcare providers in general, we all went to school. As a nurse practitioner, we understand medicine, but we take more of the holistic approach. And so the first thing that we've been taught is basically push the pill. As far as alternative medications, usually it's like we just kind of punt that off, or if we lack the education, we may say certain things like over the counter vitamin B12, vitamins, minerals, we'll be like, oh, that's fine. But when it comes to your ashwagandha and different things like that, we might be like, no, that might interfere with your medicines. And that is something that we do have to take into consideration. But then it becomes more of the risk versus the benefit. And especially if you can see that this client really wants to do more alternative medicine, I think we should have that, be open-minded to that, and allow them to kind of somewhat guide their health and their wellness versus us always telling them, no, you have to take this pill. And let's try more of the natural route first and kind of really see, hey, is this helping them? And if so, lay off of it. Lay off of trying to prescribe another pill. But it's just healthier and a little bit more safe.
And as a clinician, I'm sure you see so many patients seeking those alternative treatments that we were just speaking of. But doctors aren't trained in these alternative treatments. Do you think this is why so many doctors are so dismissive of using herbs or even the field of herbalism?
Oh yes. But yes, that is the honest truth. Because when it comes to the plant medicine or even the different herbs, if we don't know about them, we're going to say no, don't use them. And then if not, we may ask, hey, bring that supplement in so we can see if there is any kind of drug interaction. We can, different platforms we can go on, we can look that up, and even patients can look that up themselves. We'll try to separate those two. And I feel like we should not separate those. Things that are naturally grown from the ground, obviously it has some potential to be therapeutic and beneficial for someone. It may not be for everybody. And that's another thing too, when it comes to cannabis, it's not for everybody. But those who can utilize it, it's there for them to use it. And it's still should be up to us as providers to learn about these herbs regardless, because it's still part of our patient. And if this is a part of them, then I should actually bring all of this information together so I can get a bigger picture of how I can treat my patient to meet those goals or those outcomes. I mean, I feel like we could definitely dig more into that, have, more deeper conversations, but I'm thankful to be on this platform because these conversations need to be had.
And it's not just about legality, it's about healthcare equality. The DPAR lens reminds us that equality means asking, do health laws unfairly restrict herbal medicine? Who holds the power to decide what is considered legitimate healing? Pharmaceutical companies, medical associations, and government agencies shape these laws, often to protect profits and not people. Until we challenge these power dynamics, true health equality remains out of reach. Therapists, counselors, and mental health professionals can advocate for integrative medicine training in psychology and therapy programs, push for research on herbal alternatives to pharmaceuticals like antidepressants, educate communities on herbal self-care to reduce medical dependency, address the gaps in standardization, health testing, and labeling, and explore how these gaps affect customer trust and the ability of practitioners to recommend herbs competently. The opioid epidemic was decreased as a result of cannabis use. We also need to work with empowering therapists. One article that comes to mind is the Access and Empowerment Interviews. This article lets us know that true healing isn't just personal, it's collective. It states that when we decentralize power and resources, we don't just help individuals, we uplift entire communities, protect ecosystems, and create a sustainable future for all living beings. We also need to help empower therapists by helping them join professional bodies that are advocating for regulation and recognition for herbal practices. Lastly, we really need to help with educating patients as well as policymakers about evidence-based benefits in herbalism. Herbalism isn't just ancient history. It's already a part of our daily lives. If you've ever sipped chamomile tea to relax or used turmeric for inflammation, you've practiced herbal medicine. While herbs are everywhere, access isn't equal.
Regulatory gaps mean that quality herbal products aren't always accessible, especially in underserved communities. Many cheap mass-produced herbs lack potency, while high-quality ones are often priced out of reach.
And sustainability matters because the over-harvesting of herbs like ginseng threatens ecosystems, and big wellness brands profit off of traditional knowledge without crediting the original medicine. This is why we must approach herbalism with intention and respect, not as trends, but as legacy.
Healthcare providers, herbalism isn't an alternative, it's an integrative tool. Studies show that when combined with conventional medicine, herbs can help manage stress, chronic pain, and immune health, offering a more complete approach to healing. But to make herbalism a real solution, we need better access, ethical sourcing, and respect for the cultures that built these traditions.
Because true healing isn't just personal, it's social, cultural, and environmental. And reclaiming herbal medicine means ensuring it's available, sustainable, and honored, not just exploited. I've used plant medicine in countless ways to help people heal through herbs, holistic practices, and reconnecting to nature. My focus, helping people manage anxiety and depression in ways that aren't dependent on pharmaceuticals, but instead rooted in natural healing and self-awareness.
And you're not alone in that. Studies show that more people are turning to herbal medicine, not as a last resort, but as a proactive way to support their health. One study by Ventola 2010 found that patients who incorporated herbal treatments alongside conventional medicine saw real benefits, whether it was for stress management or chronic pain relief. According to Ventola's study in 2010, the use of herbal and complementary medicine has surged in the US, with millions of Americans incorporating herbs into their healthcare routines. Around 38% of adults and 12% of children reported using complementary and alternative medicine. Usage is higher among individuals with chronic illnesses who often seek herbal alternatives due to dissatisfaction with pharmaceuticals.
And that's why this conversation is so important. Many people already use herbal supplements without fully understanding their potential benefits or risk. But when we educate ourselves, we make informed choices. Herbalism isn't just about personal wellness, it's about public health, policy change, and protecting the future of plant medicine. Because when we reclaim herbal healing, it's not just about healing ourselves, we're healing our communities, our culture, and the earth itself.
So here's some food for thought. Ask yourself these questions. Do you know why America suddenly abandoned natural ways of healing? Why were the original pharmacy books altered to take out many herbal plants? Do you think herbal remedies could complement your current approach to health and wellness? Why or why not?
This conversation is just the beginning. If you take away anything from today's episode, let it be this. Herbal medicine was never alternative. It was and is the original medicine. Medical apartheid is still alive today, and we must fight for equality. Therapists, herbalists, and practitioners have the power to push policy and change. We don't want to end this conversation in frustration, and we want to end with hope and action.
The good news is that there are real, tangible solutions already in motion, initiatives designed to empower individuals, promote health equity, and transform the medical system for the better. Here's what we can do. Integrating traditional medicine into primary healthcare. Recognizing and incorporating traditional healing practices into mainstream medicine can make healthcare more accessible, effective, and culturally relevant. The more we research, support, and validate these methods, the more we can build a system that reflects all healing traditions, not just pharmaceutical ones. Promoting patient education and health literacy. Knowledge is power. The more we understand how to care for ourselves naturally, the less we rely on medication alone, and the more we become active participants in our own well-being. And supporting Black and Indigenous practitioners. When we increase representation in medicine and support Black and Indigenous practitioners, we help address disparities in healthcare access and quality. This is about building a future where medical professionals truly reflect and understand the communities they serve.
And this is about bringing traditional healing back to the people in ways that aren't profit-driven, but are deeply rooted in ancestral practices, making sure people, not corporations, are at the center of healing. By redistributing resources, funding, and decision-making power, we ensure that wellness is accessible to all. And it's not just about policy and systematic change. It's about empowering individuals with the tools for self-care. Learning about acupressure, dietary health, and herbal remedies gives people controls over their health. Community storytelling helps rebuild trust in medicine and allowing people to share experiences and heal together. Cultural competence and medical training ensures that healthcare professionals respect and understand the communities they serve.
The bottom line, healing should be inclusive, accessible, and rooted in humanity. And by reclaiming our traditions and educating ourselves, we can make that a reality. As we talk about herbal medicine, we want to acknowledge something really important: the difference between cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation. Many traditional healing practices have been passed down for generations, deeply rooted in the cultures that created them.
It's not just about bringing these practices back into the conversation, it's about respecting their origin, honoring the people who preserve them, and making sure their knowledge isn't exploited.
One of the best ways to practice cultural appreciation instead of appropriation is by learning from the people who have carried these traditions, supporting BIPOC herbalists, indigenous healers, and practitioners who have worked to keep these healing systems alive. So as we reclaim our healing, let's also honor the cultures that have always known the power of plants in traditional medicine.
True healing isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. And how we shift the focus back to our ancestral wisdom, we heal generations to come. We want to leave you with this. Healing is not just about what we take, it's also about who we support. We need to uplift the voices, knowledge, and work of people who have carried these traditions for generations.
That means supporting BIPOC herbalists, indigenous healers, and practitioners who are keeping traditional medicine alive. Learning from culturally rooted sources, not just mainstream wellness trends. Investing in ethical businesses and community healing spaces rather than corporations that profit off of stolen knowledge. Advocating for policies that protect traditional medicine and its practitioners instead of restricting access.
Healing is a community effort. And when we support the right people, we ensure that healing is accessible, inclusive, and rooted in justice.
So we encourage you, after this episode, take a moment to research, connect, and uplift those who have dedicated their lives to herbal medicine and holistic healing. Support their work, share their knowledge, and most importantly, apply what you've learned today.
Dr. Bates, attorney Tiffany Campbell, and to my co-host Noelle, your willingness to stand up, speak out, and fight against medical apartheid is powerful. It takes real strength to challenge a system that was designed to silence us. I also want to acknowledge that not everyone has the freedom to openly speak, and that alone is proof of the risk tied to telling the truth. And so I state and I claim protection over each and every one of our lives, because speaking the truth should never come with risk, but history has definitely taught us otherwise. So we move forward, boldly, protected, and united.
Let's take a moment of silence to honor those who have fought before us, those who cannot speak, and those who continue this fight. Thank you. Let's continue to stand together, speak truth, and reclaim our right to heal. Until next time,
Stay informed
stay empowered.
and stay rooted in your healing. We'll see you next time at the Herbal Rebellion.
They wrote the books about behavior, but never read our pain. Diagnosed the symptoms, never lost in the chains. Turn healers into criminals, wisdom into myths. Now they selling back the cures that our elders taught to feed their greed.